Hey, Clean Nation, welcome to our little party. Mike Campion here with Lindsay Bjorklund. We help owners of cleaning companies grow, get time freedom, and every week we jump in and answer your questions. This week, we are talking about the number one thing keeping you from getting out of the daily grind of your cleaning company, which I know you guys want to hear about. And I believe Lindsay's got some questions all lined up.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because this question reminds me of the movie Groundhog Day, where the guys do the same thing day after day and it just repeats. Even though it's almost Halloween, we're going with the Groundhog Day theme. I don't know. So, anyhow, with that being said, Amber in the Facebook group sent this really long, detailed question. I'm going to read the whole thing out because it gives such good context and I love it. Way to go, Amber, on good questions. All right, here we go. Amber says, I'm on the hamster wheel between hiring and getting clients. My biggest challenge is figuring out where my ideal clients, which are police officers, spend their time outside of work. I'm focused on building recurring revenue with the first responders and eventually wanted to add crime scene cleaning as an additional service. I've learned that officers often have in-house gyms and cleaning services, so connecting them with directly has been tough. So basically, Amber here is looking for creative ideas to get in front of those police officers. She wants to know if you have any tips on where to find and fit in naturally to connect with this crowd. She says, I imagine it's not a good idea to approach them during a speed trap.
No, I would say no, but anything's worth a try. So Amber, I think in this instance, you're probably making it too hard. Well, first of all, as much as I love niching, I don't know that I would probably pick a simpler niche. So when it comes to residential, identifying super high-end condos, identifying larger homes with families that are worth, the top 20% home value in your area, identifying wealthier retired people, super easy because they're all congregated together. But identifying a police officer's home is pretty tough. Also, for most residential cleaning, the lady of the house will kind of make that decision. Police, I'm guessing, is more than half men. So it's like, well, who are really? So I don't know that I'd pick that niche. I'd probably, for residential, right? I'd probably pick, again, what we typically coach our clients is just married, kids, large house, homeowners, like just easier to find. And then you can really target them with door hangers, with Facebook ads, with postcards, with yard signs, with community events, like right physically there. They're all gathered so nicely together. I would leverage that when it comes to marketing. But for police officers, they're not really gathered together. I mean, they are like police stations, but it'd be weird to go in and what I'm saying? So I think I would reconsider an easier niche to market to, as opposed to trying to figure out how to market to police officers specifically, because I don't know that police officers are that superior of it. They might even be inferior, right? Like, I don't know that they make kind of a lot of money, or if time is, really looking for people. Like, the reason I like dueling with kids and pets is lots of typically high income. They just value time more than money. And kids make messes, and they're typically working a lot of hours. And police officers, I don't think are bad or good. Because they don't congregate well, I think it's a tough niche. So I guess I would pick an easier niche that congregates nicely for you, is probably the short answer to that long question.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't see that coming because I don't think I've ever heard that niche before. So interesting. All right, cool. Moving on here. See, I'm going to hop around a little bit. All right. In the Facebook group, State Cleaning Services said the biggest thing that's keeping them from getting out of the daily grind is never ending invoicing.
That's super common. And as most things, the kind of overreaching concept I give is, in like order of complexity, the first thing I would want to do is just stop doing it. Like, there are some things in your business you could just stop doing. Like, what would happen? Nothing. Well, then stop doing it, right? The second easiest is to create a system once that does it going forward. And software is often kind of an extension of that. You could get some software that systematizes a thing. But an example would be, for a system, we have our people, meet every day to pick up their supplies and then go to the house. A system could be, we're only going to meet once a week for a weekly meeting, and they're going to just refill their supplies there. Like that one system would save all of your team meeting 4 times a week. And they would just, instead of 5 times a week, they just meet one. System for this would be, instead of invoicing after every job, you had a flat monthly fee and you billed them in advance, and it was just on auto bill where you could set up your payment processor to, Lindsay's $400 a month, and we go every other Friday, the first of every month, it just runs their card for $400. That would be a system. So ideally we just stop doing it, but if you stop invoicing your customers, they might not pay. But the next step would be to create a system, combine it with software. So the system would be, all of our people pay in advance and we just charge them. And if you're like, what about one-time cleans? I wouldn't coach you to do one-time cleans. But even if you did, the system would be to run the credit card when we put them on the calendar, not when we do the cleaning. And the software that would supplement that would be, whatever your payment processing software is, that you can tell it, hey, run this card the first of the month, every month, until I tell you to stop. So that would be the second easiest. Third easiest is typically to sub it out, like find a billing company or invoicing company handle it for you. I wouldn't recommend that, but that would be the next most aggressive thing. After that would be to hire kind of a virtual assistant or a contractor, or someone that kind of works for you and kind of not. And then the most complex thing is to hire an actual full-time employee. So that's kind of the hierarchy of how to get rid of things and offload them, from least invasive to most inexpensive and headachy to most expensive and headachy. And again, I would use number 2, the second easiest one, which is just create a system that made it a lot easier. Stop invoicing every client every time you do a clean, automate it, and just bill them all at the beginning of the month.
Makes sense. Got it. All right. Yeah, I guess that would have been a good one to start with, now that I look back at it, because you just outlined how to think about getting out of the day-to-day, like the steps of how to process yourself out.
Well, Lindsay's grabbing the next one. Let me just give, again, on the kind of meta of like, how should I think about this stuff? The lower value stuff is the things that have to be done all the time, right? That's why we don't want you cleaning, because if you clean today and you save $20 an hour, whatever your payroll would be, you're just gonna have to clean that same thing tomorrow and the next week and the next week. Higher value things are doing things that you can do once and you don't have to do again. So payroll, well, you have to do it now and next week and the week after that. And every time payrolls due, you just have to keep doing it. But if you create a payroll system or pay a payroll company, you don't have to do it anymore. So even marketing is like, I can create a system that generates leads, and the system can generate leads indefinitely. So as you're going through your day, if you'd like to make more money, most people just like, I'll do more of what I'm doing, right? I'm cleaning 20, 30 hours a week, or I'm working 50 hours a week in an online business and I'm making $4,000. So if I just work harder, maybe I'll make more money. Or I don't think you can do that thinking, but that's the actions we do, is we just work harder. Just look at the things you're doing and go, how many of these things am I doing over and over again? And I only get paid if I do it. Like if I stop doing payroll, I'll stop being in business. If I stop cleaning, I'll stop being in business. Whereas if you create systems once that pay you forever, i.e. the marketing or the payment system we just talked about, or setting up payroll, that's just higher leverage work. Because you, again, anytime in world, business or otherwise, you can do something once and get paid forever. Like the best thing is write a song that 1 million people listen to. You don't have to work anymore. If you don't have that skill set, you can create systems as an entrepreneur that you put into place. Even selling, that's what I love about recurring clients, right? I said I wouldn't take a one-time client, because if you get paid and maybe make money, maybe you don't, but that's that. If you sell a recurring client, you can sell them once, so you can get paid for months or years to come. So just look at what you're doing and be like, how often do I have to do this again, right? And if it's daily or weekly, probably something you want to sub out. And if it's like, I can do this once and get paid forever, that's more of a business owner type thing.
Nice. Yeah, you actually just sparked an idea in me. We'll come back to it if we have time. I'm just bookmarking that in my head. So I just want to make sure we get everyone in.
Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting them in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk.
Marna from the Facebook group, she said the biggest thing keeping her from getting out of the day to day is cash flow. I asked her to tell me more, but she didn't get a chance to respond to me yet. But maybe you can speak a little to that, Mike, with limited info.
Yeah, it's frustrating. A lot of coaching is really helping get people clear on the question. And once they get clear on the question, the answer is oftentimes fairly straightforward. So it can absolutely feel like cash flow or lack of cash flow is what's keeping you stuck in the business. But the cash flow is an indicator of the real problem, not the real problem. Right. So again, without any information, I obviously need more information to give you direct coaching, but one of the big mistakes it's there's a problem with the way your financial foundation is set up. If you're having cash flow problems, one of the big things people do, or the mistakes they make when it comes, or I've made, and I've seen others make it when it comes to cash flow, is they think or they assign the problem to their collections. Like especially on the commercial side, we get paid net 30 and I'm always waiting for money. And I'm not saying that's great. We teach people to get paid in advance. So I don't like that. But if you're constantly having cash flow problems, it's not because you're getting paid net 30, right? At some point you will catch up unless you just keep growing and growing and growing, and you're continue getting paid, have to put money in now, then yes, technically you'd never solve your cash flow problems. But most of you are not growing at that fast of a rate. You're fairly stable. So if your revenue is kind of the same month in, month out for 3, 4, 5 months at a time, and you're still having cash flow problems, it's not because you're getting paid late, it's because you're not making enough money. So I don't know what the underlying real problem is. Katie, is that who it was? Sorry, Marna. I would need more information to tell you that, but we need to fix that first. That is not, because cash flow doesn't really take a lot of time. It just takes a lot of mental stress and energy. So I think we're kind of confusing what the problem is. Most of the time we're not charging enough. Certainly not charging enough. We get to the point where it's like I have to clean all the time, but I want to hire cleaners, but I can't afford to hire cleaners. It's almost always a pricing problem. But yes, if you've got cash flow issues, it may be a combination of your financial model being broken and your billing practices being out of line. But a lot of times people think it's just the billing. If I just got paid quicker, then I wouldn't have cash flow problems. Like, no, you're probably not making enough money as well. So I'd have to look into it. But I guess really the three things that stop people from having cash flow problems is one, or maybe it's just two. One, their profitability isn't as high as it should be, right? Like we coach to a 30% profit. So if you're doing 20 grand a month and you're only making 2 or 3 grand, we've got either something's wrong with your financial foundation. Two is you're profiting enough, but your business is just too small, right? We coach to a 30% profit. So if you're doing 10 grand in revenue and you're making $3,200 a month, your profit's actually fine. You're like, well, I need 5 grand a month. You just need a larger business. Your business isn't large enough or a part-time job, but your business isn't large enough so you kind of have to identify, is my business not profitable? In which case it's probably a cash flow. It's probably a pricing or how you pay your clients issue. Or is my business profitable enough? It's just too small to meet my financial needs, right? If I've got a nice little business paying me, 6 grand a month and I need 20 to live, we could blame the business for not generating enough cash. It's like, well, it's not that the business isn't profitable. It's just I need a larger business to support my lifestyle. So without any more information, that is as specific as I can get. But now I'm kind of, Lindsay opened a loop for me on her like bookmark thing. So I'm kind of like, what's going on over there? Let's,
my little bookmark. No, so we just both of us just got off a coaching call, and getting an owner out of the daily grind, so to speak, right? When you mentioned setting up the systems, that's what sparked this idea. So a lot of times I see business owners get stuck in the hamster wheel. Who said hamster wheel? Amber said hamster wheel. I'm like, that's it exactly. They get stuck in this hamster wheel where they are afraid to like offload a new system or make a new system because of the time commitment it's going to take to make that. So for example, let me give you an example with scheduling. A lot of times I'll see business owners like, I really need to offload scheduling and hire a scheduler, but I don't want to like take the time to like train them. And it's going to be such a headache. I'll just do it myself. I hear this every day. I'll just do it myself. And in reality, what I tell them is if you spend the time, even though it can be a big pain in the butt to train someone, it'll pay you back dividends in getting your time back. So yeah, it's a pain in the butt to start it, but it pays you back. That was my big bookmark moment.
I think that's akin to any of us that have raised children who know it's just so much quicker and easier to clean their room for them than to teach them to clean their room. But if we continue to do so, we will continue to do so. We'll be picking up our 20-year-old kid's mess, God forbid, at his house or her house. So I think everyone gets that at a very basic level, but the pushback people say is things like, well, you don't understand. I don't have the time. I just don't have the time. But the reason you don't have the time, almost inevitably, I'm not saying this from a place of judgment. I'm saying this from a place of I've been there. I've gone through this. I know how painful and frustrating it can be, is because you're too busy dealing with emergencies. So all you have to do is recategorize in your mind what an emergency is. So if you just go, the fact that Susie called me and she's pissed about her cleaning and whatever, we categorize that as emergency. Maybe we just go, well, if Susie's going to be pissed, maybe she'll just be pissed today. I can call her tomorrow, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying you should, again, especially when people are angry, believe it or not, time actually helps. Usually when you call back the next day, they're a little more calm. They, as a child throwing a tantrum, want you to respond right away, but that doesn't mean that that is your God-given duty to do so. That said, you might just make an emergency of, I can't live like this. I can't be in a constant state of always putting out fires. I'm going to make it an emergency to create this system. And I think if we're really being honest with ourselves, it's not really fun dealing with Susie, but we're comfortable doing it. Like, I know I need to do it and I'll just deal with it. And it's something that is presenting, it's urgent, very urgent, and semi-important. Whereas setting up these systems are wildly important, but not urgent at all. And if we're honest, they take a lot of thinking. Really, I hate to say it, with the coaching, a lot of what we get paid for is just having thought through at a very deep level, pretty much every aspect of the cleaning business, because we've been doing it a decade. And I think Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, said, their whole thing was think. That was their one word at IBM, think. And I think he was the one that said, thinking pays so well because so few people do it. So I get it. It's much easier to just deal with the Susie problem, or that, we put on our Superman cape and we just go put out fires all day, as opposed to going like, why are these fires starting? What would it look like to put in a sprinkler system to prevent the fires? What if we had a fire? Like, that's kind of the hard work. So we're like, I'll just deal with Susie yelling at me. So at some point, and again, part of having a coach or someone to help you is to walk you through and give you the encouragement of like, you can have a sprinkler system and it will work and you will get a return on that time. So a coach can help. But if you're unwilling or unable to get a coach, then you got to coach yourself and be the adult and say, hold on, I'm going to make this emergency. I'm going to prioritize thinking, or stop beating yourself up for running around like a chicken with your head cut off all the time and just be like, well, if that's how I act, if I'm constantly putting out fires, I'm constantly putting out fires. So either stop judging yourself and accept your fate, or do something different, i.e. get someone that thought it through, or think it through yourself. So hopefully, I feel like I got a little preachy, but I'll step off my soapbox and back down to, or off my high horse, back down to join the rest of you fine people.
No, I think that was a good preach, a good rant, a good, what do we call it? I don't know. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I just wanted to make that point. It's just, I just see it so often. So I had to bring it up. So yeah. Cool. I think we got one more, Mike, and I'm a little confused, to be honest, because this doesn't really have to deal with getting out of cleaning or the day-to-day, but this person, Cynthia,
I reserve the right to reject the question out of hand, but we'll let you.
Okay. It's a classic though. Cynthia said the biggest thing keeping her from getting out of the daily grind is getting commercial contracts.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a getting out of the daily grind. What I'm guessing is I hate to guess on these questions. So we've done so many podcasts and episodes on getting contracts of any sort, but the big mistake overwhelmingly people make when it comes to marketing or client attraction in the cleaning space, at least, and probably in other spaces, is they focus too much on the marketing, right? We want to do the easy way, and Facebook will tell you, or direct mail people will tell you, or cold callers will tell you, or pay-per-click experts will tell you, if you just let me, or social media people will tell you, whatever the new thing is, if you just Angie's List, or Thumbtack, all of them, right? If you just advertise on our thing, then you'll be rich. And again, that doesn't take a lot of thinking, so we like that, but that's not really the truth. What they don't do is ask the right question, which is, who's your client? Like, who's your perfect prospect? And we say things like, anyone that wants anything cleaned. It's like, so a dry cleaner, my windows cleaned, my firehouse cleaned, my house cleaned, my dog house cleaned, my conscience cleaned. Like, they're all very different things. So if we're not clear, like the gal earlier with the fire policeman, those people are going to have very different pains than the stay-at-home mom, who's going to have a very different pain than the rich lawyer who's single and, you know, jets all over the country, who's going to have a very different pain than the retired couple. Then is going to have a very different pain than any commercial client whatsoever. So we kind of skip the hard part of like, who are we serving, right? And what problem are we really solving? So the reason marketing doesn't work and takes a lot of time and money that doesn't give a return is we're not really clear on who people are, what pain they have. So we just do the easy thing and talk about us. So we put out some sort of advertising somewhere on Bark or anywhere. We're the cheapest. We're the best cleaners. Our clean is special and magical and no one cleans like us. Well, guess what? Every one of your competitors says the exact same thing. So the buyer doesn't really know how to make a decision other than based on price. Whereas if you talk to the buyer and their pain, you know, to the mom who is overworked and underappreciated, mom, you deserve some you time. You pamper everybody in your life. Isn't it time that someone took care of you? We'd love to do that. Well, holy heck, I'm real interested in that. But if we don't know who the mom is or what her pain is, it's not going to work. So then we put an ad on Facebook talking about we don't cut corners, we clean them, and it doesn't work. And then we're like, Facebook sucks. And it's like, well, Facebook or none of that's neither good nor bad. Just the messaging's wrong. We don't track. So we don't know if it's making any money. We don't have a system to follow up on the leads. And we just, because those all take thought to create good messaging, to get clear on who our prospect is, what their pain is, think through how we're going to follow up with those people and really help them. That all sounds like a lot of work. So we just go with the easy button of I'll just pay Angie's List. And then we get pissed when it quote unquote doesn't work, but we didn't really use messaging that was effective or have a system to follow up. So long story short, kind of same answer we've been saying, we do need a system and to think it through at a deep level. And instead of paying some social media guy or Facebook guy, unless they can actually get you leads that, again, the problem is the people that can get leads, it costs money and they're really good at it. You can't afford them, right? The reason they do it for like Angie's List or Bark or stuff like that is sell the same lead to 6 different people. And then you're like, I get it. So all that to say, take the time to really understand marketing and who your customer is and what pain you solve. And I get it. Thinking sucks, but that's why it gets paid so well. So find a coach to think it through for you and kind of spoon feed it to you. And guess what? He or she's going to want money, or think it through yourself and go through the trial and error. And that's going to cost money. Or just keep doing what you're doing and hope for different results, which I don't wildly recommend. So kind of a general answer, but a pretty general question. Anything to wrap, Lindsay, or you feel like we gave the people a little bit of what they needed?
I think we did good. I think we're good.
Beautiful. Guys, gals, if you want to participate, you can email support@growmycleaningcompany.com to Lindsay with any questions you got. She loves it. She'll put it up here. Try and be a little more specific than some of the ones we had today. And if you want to join us live, we do it, 2:30 or 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern every Wednesday. Just join our Facebook group. It's free. That's where we broadcast. And of course, you can get on the podcast. You can get it on YouTube, all that good stuff. Check it out. We'll see you soon. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.